Hello, what is up, everyone? Good Sunday to everybody. Sunday evening. It's a little bit later than normal, but these episodes are going to be shorter for What If because they're shorter episodes. So the podcast runs a little bit shorter. So I was like, let's start a little bit later than normal. So hope that's okay. I do want to give a shout out to Cal. He dropped a 99-cent super chat already. No comments. Just hey guys. Hey Cal.
Hey.
How are you doing? All right, so what we're going to be talking about today, everyone, we're going to be talking about about the What If episodes. Episode 2, which is What If T'Challa was Starlord, and so we'll be discussing that. We're also going to talk a little bit about the Eternals trailer and our thoughts about Shang-Chi, which is coming up very soon.
It's like 2
I'm
weeks.
very excited about it.
Wow,
yeah,
that's soon?
like 2 weeks.
Yeah, September 3rd.
Yeah, we might give Cyber a chance to give his unspoiler opinion of Free Guy at the end, in case you guys want to hear that. Radical Z with the super chat here. I think What If Zombies will be based on Infinity War. I don't know how that would go.
Well, being that when everyone gets snapped back.
Yeah, like they instead of snapping into dust, they turn into zombies. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be about. I hope it has nothing to do with the previous films. I hope it's its own take.
I'm ready for the shows to stop borrowing from stuff that we've already seen.
Seeing one decision change a movie that or a show that I've already seen is cool, which we're going to get into. But I want to see out there something completely different.
It's a good introduction, but we're moving beyond that.
Zombies will be pretty good.
Yeah. And I think this episode we're going to talk about today actually was the first step in moving beyond like just a carbon copy of what we've seen. It still had those elements, but
yeah, it did.
But yeah. So anyway, just catch up. How are you guys doing, Cyber? How has your week been?
I mean, it's been pretty good. We went to the aquarium down in Outer Banks. Got the shirt chat. It's called the Sea Vengers. It's the Sea Vengers chat. Look at it. This is the Hulk. You can't really
Dolphin
see
Iron Man is kind of cool.
Yeah, but it's pretty dope. So anyway, we went there, had a pretty good time. That's kind of about it. We haven't really done much, just kind of chilled. I've been streaming a lot this week, and people have been dropping in and enjoying it. So you should do the same. It's free.
What about you, Omega?
I know,
What's
right?
going on?
I haven't really been doing much. Just doing this training for my job I just got a couple weeks ago, and I think we're now on the 3rd week of training. So I've just been preoccupied with that.
All right, so you're doing your new job now, and you're
not really. We're still in training, so I haven't actually got into it yet. But we're just learning a lot of ins and outs of the programs and stuff that we're going to be using.
All right. I guess this is for you guys. I don't have the Avengers game anymore.
I don't got that thing.
Is anybody playing it?
No.
Or for Wakanda expansion? People think it's good, but
I watched a playthrough on it. Oh, what the? Okay, sorry. I watched a playthrough of it of people live streaming it, and it does look good. I mean, it doesn't look bad. It's a shame that the game is.
Yeah, the game should not have been a lie, sir. This is tight game.
Yeah.
Cody says season 2 of What If is confirmed to tackle phase. That makes sense to me. I mean, it'll be out after phase 4.
Yeah, that's fine. That's cool.
So, Radical Z with another super chat. My problem with episode 1 was it was a retelling of Captain America 1. This episode was way different. Also, new Spidey trailer may come out tomorrow.
Yeah, I can see that.
I would argue this episode wasn't way different. This episode, it had different stuff, but it still had
people played different roles, but it played the same story.
Yeah, it was still Guardians of the Galaxy 1, but it's a bit different.
Yeah.
People had different roles.
Yeah.
Let's start out talking about, because we just got done watching the Eternals trailer again, and we get to see a lot more. It explains why they didn't interfere with Infinity War. It also explains why we haven't seen them before, and it sort of covers what their job is on Earth and how long they've been here. And so it says, just kind of if you guys haven't seen the trailer, just a little like summary of what it is. They came to Earth 7,000 years ago. They've been instructed by the Celestials to not interfere with anything that does not pertain to deviants. So if deviants are not involved, they're not supposed to interfere. And I guess we'll get more information on that later on. And all of these characters they all have their own unique power, but they're basically supermen and superwomen. That's what these characters are.
Yeah,
they're all like super powered. Now, what that level is in terms of the MCU, I don't know. I mean, it seems to be like Icarus is Superman from what I saw.
Yeah,
So these characters are going to be super, super powerful. They're kind of like the Justice League. That's kind of what it seems like. It's the power set, super speed, the flight.
But do we give them the same criticisms as Justice League, where they should have had their own films, or do we not?
That really depends on the story and the actual, like, because here's the deal. I don't know if those characters are worth, like, I don't know if they're individually worth having their own movies or not. That's the thing, is I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess they're not as iconic to tell their backstories, or maybe they don't have really good backstories.
Well, they all start from the same place. That's the difference, is they came to Earth at the same time, and they've all been together up until a certain point. So
well, I guess I'll just, we'll wait and see.
The Eternals were robots made by Celestials. I mean,
you kind of see that in the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that the idea of Celestials, creating stuff or whatever, it doesn't have to be biological, in my opinion. It could be techno-organic, which is probably what they are. They're probably a cross between like biological and technological, and that would explain the Deviants. The Deviants looked really weird in that trailer, by the way. I don't know if what you thought of them or not.
I kind of like the way they look. I mean, I always like kind of strange off the wall designs, and that was definitely strange and off the wall. So I rather like the way they looked. Whether or not we're gonna have more that just look strange, even weirder, who knows? I'm like I said, I'm always let's wait and see type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that on the first trailer, the first teaser, I was very critical, and I was like, "Oh, Shang-Chi looks great. This looks trashy." And this trailer kind of makes this movie look a lot more interesting. I'm actually interested in seeing this film.
Yeah.
Before I was on the fence, I'm not anymore.
Yeah, same.
So, but one thing we've confirmed is Thanos is not a deviant in the MCU.
Because they didn't interfere.
They didn't interfere.
Yeah. Right.
So the concept of him being a deviant and that
I guess because they made whatever Thanos is, they made them their own race that went extinct due to their own universe or whatever.
Because it looks to me like the deviants in the movie side of it are more like these creatures. They're more like, we have no idea what their level of intelligence is, but it seems to me like they're more like animalistic than they are.
Well, there's at least one that seems intelligent for speech, but who knows?
Right, the one we see when
I don't know if that's the only one, or are there more like him?
Because that's the thing, is they're supposed to be a blend of Eternals with deviants. That's what they're supposed to be. But
it's like if I remember their origin right, it was the Celestials. They basically seeded life on Earth. There was the humans who were pretty much unchanged. Those Celestials who were perfect. Then there was the deviants who were flawed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Naruto here with the super chat. Eternals trailer was 1,000 times better than the first. I'll agree with that.
I mean, I know the first one was just a teaser, but really, even with a teaser is supposed to make you hype for it. That teaser literally scared me, and this one changed that. So, you know nothing, Eric Snow.
Reverse Papa's Smurf. Radical with another super chat. Will Black Knight be sent to the wall
and protect everybody from the Marvel zombies?
So I have a question. See, looking at the power level of the Eternals, is Black Knight going to be? I mean, what are they going to do with this character? I mean, I know he's got he's got a connection with mystical items and stuff like that, but like, is he going to be useful against deviants? I'm guessing they're going to change it.
Yeah, there'll be something that they add for it. I'm sure,
right?
Or some reason why that specific moment that only that character can do XYZ.
Now, there was a theory that the humanoid versions of the deviants that we see in the trailer, the one we see in the trailer is an actual deviant, and the creatures we're seeing are creations of the deviants. So they're not actually deviants. They're just pawns of them.
Yeah.
Is that something that you think would work? Do you think that would be good to do that?
Yeah.
Or?
So anytime you have a film, whether it's Infinity War, Endgame, 300, Game of Thrones, when you have a massive fight that has to take place and you have a league of heroes, you always have to have those pawns, and they're usually just plot army in order for them to go in and fight. So it's whatever. They could use whatever.
They're there to make the good guys look.
And they're just there to get stomped on and to occupy the other people while the story pushes forward with the one they wanted to push forward with. So that's fine.
The other thing that's mentioned is the emergence. Now, that happened because of the snap. And if you guys remember, I think it was in Endgame where they talked about a blip in the ocean, and we see during the emergence that something does crash into the ocean, which looks to be I'm guessing it's a celestial pod or something along those lines.
You got ghost orbs in your house.
No, it's freaking raining.
We should probably look for fingerprints and EMF.
Yeah.
I get the spirit box.
So, and we see actually an image of a celestial, which looks very similar to the
That's
one
not
from the comics.
Galactus.
No, it's not Galactus.
Oh,
So,
get him out.
I know it's not Galactus.
So
That's what people on Twitter trash were talking about.
And they actually get the ominous 7 days. Like it reminds me of the ring.
Yeah, I mean, what 7 days Earth time, 7 days like.
I don't know.
Yeah, who's 7 days?
It's it's literally just the ticking clock for the movie.
Yeah,
that's all it is. But so it looks to me like what's going to happen is that they're going to be dealing with the judgment of the Earth. I believe that's what the emergence is. Like the Celestials are coming back to judge Earth because that's what they kind of do with their petri dishes. Is they decide whether or not it's worth holding on to. And so I think that's going to be the premise of the film. That's going to be the main focus, is stopping a celestial from destroying Earth. That's a pretty huge deal. Do you think that's what's going to cause them to sort of come out of hiding? This concept that the celestials are going to come back and judge the Earth. Do you think that's ultimately what's going to draw them out?
I think that's a safe bet. I mean, it's got to be something huge that they have to step in for if their goal is to protect it from that. That could be the only thing to bring them out anyway, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I think it's a safe bet.
Yeah. Gary with a non-MCU question. When I answered the chat, is the Flash getting delayed later than November?
Movie?
Yes.
It's absolutely not. It's the show, and it's not because they're already filming right now. So
I say it's going to be. So
yeah, it might be.
I have no official word other than my intuition.
They're filming season 8 right now, so I don't think it's going to get delayed. I mean, unless they put more restrictions. I don't know. Canada,
it's going to get delayed. I'm telling you now.
It's maybe, possibly. All right, so let's talk a little bit about final verdict on the trailer. Are you now more hyped to see the movie or no?
I'm not like, oh my god, this is going to be the greatest film ever. Which, by the way, Shang-Chi, I am on that. I'm on that bandwagon. But I want to see this film. Before I was like, if I see it, I see it. Now I'm interested. I want to see it.
What about
Don't know how the acting and the action's going to be yet, but the trailer has me sold. I do want to say real quick before Omega gives his ideas on that. People were saying on Twitter, trash Twitter as he puts it, and other places that when they were doing the fight scenes and he was shooting the laser beams, that they were stealing stuff from Justice League, from the Superman thing. I just want to say real quick, no one ever said that Superman was bad, right? So wouldn't Marvel want to use that? Isn't that what we always said that we wanted DC to do for Marvel in terms of story? If it's working, use it. It looked good. So yeah. It's not just stolen. Just looks good.
What's going on, Omega? Your thoughts?
Oh, so it's my turn to talk now. Okay.
Oh, but I did forget real quick when
I'll just play Doom. I'm kind of in the same boat as this guy who doesn't shut up, but I'm all for cosmic Marvel stuff. So my interest went from like maybe about a 5 to definitely a 9. It's not at a 10, but it's definitely at a 9.
So speaking of the whole concept of, because I quite enjoyed the trailer. Speaking of the concept that Cyber was saying about the heat vision or the laser beams or whatever from his eyes, I mean, what do you expect a power like that to look like? There's only so many ways you can do it.
Yeah, usually they're always red lasers that come out of someone's eyes. Cyclops,
they went with a gold color, so his is completely different color.
I think they were saying like the angle that he used, and then it did like the way that it did like the spider webbing around the face, and then like he flew in right afterwards. And it's like, I mean, that's kind of basic fighting, but
the laser kind of looks like their weird tech that they always have with the weird gold wiring.
But I think it looked fine.
So here's the deal. I didn't hear anyone complaining about this when it was Invincible or Homelander. So just shut the F up about this.
Right.
The only reason you're mad is because it's a Marvel movie. But if it's anybody else does it, you don't have a problem with it. So Gary with the 19 super chat, are you mad at me? No, Gary, not mad.
Yes, we are. No, we're not. We're not.
Thank you so much for joining us. So all right, so let's move on before we talked about What If and just give some brief thoughts on all this promotional stuff coming out for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So we're getting a lot of clips. I've seen probably 5 different 1-minute clips from the movie now that have been released. There's one where he's fighting on the side of a building. There's one where he's fighting in the train. There's one, I believe there was one where, what was the other one that I saw? It's like another fight scene. Anyway, they've released like 4 or 5 different videos now for Shang-Chi. And so this movie looks amazing to me. I think
really
this movie
does.
is gonna give me everything that I want.
Soundtrack sounds so good already.
Yeah. Here's the deal, guys. Avoid Reddit and avoid 4chan. There are people that have seen the movie because it's come out in some places already and it's been like premiered in some places or whatever. They're releasing like the full movie, like not the video of it, but just the information from the film.
Oh wow!
So I didn't know. I want to make something very clear. I don't go on Reddit or 4chan.
Yeah.
I know this person does. That's where this person lives.
Just be careful. There are spoilers.
I do not.
We're only a couple of weeks out. So
look, all I'm saying was, I remember back when episode 7 was just coming out, and that's why I used to go to 4chan on a regular basis, and they had this one animated GIF of this. The thumbnail was this big booty white girl about to twerk, and I click on it, and it was a completely huge spoiler for the movie, and I was like, yeah, that's what I get. That's exactly what I get.
Yeah.
See,
yeah,
I avoid that.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I don't mind the clips too much. I tend to avoid like super spoilery clips, but these are like a minute long, so I don't feel so bad like just watching a minute because it's usually less than a minute worth of footage. And I have to say the fighting looks so
good.
Oh, yeah.
It looks good. Like I said, the soundtrack and I just hope they haven't shown all the action in these trailers. They're showing a lot.
I mean, it's a 2-hour movie. I don't.
Yeah,
think
I hate how they show the entire movie on the trailers.
Right. The lull parts of the movie is fine, but don't show me everything that's going to make me entertained.
Right. Gary, yes, I do remember you, and thank you so much for being a part of the channel.
Gary,
it's always good seeing you in the chat, Gary. Hope you're having a great weekend.
Because I'm bougie as hell.
So Jenna here says, yeah, stop going to Reddit because they release spoilers for Eternal. Wow. So both of them are floating around.
Okay. Avoid all that.
Be very, very, very careful.
Yeah, like I used to go to 4chan a lot. Now the only boards I really go to is for like the D&D stuff, and even then they're idiots. But yeah, that's like I just don't avoid it. Avoid it at all costs.
Yeah. So Robert Blake has an interesting comment here. He goes, how's everyone feeling about the fighting drawing parallels to Jackie Chan? I like his movies and very excited.
Yep.
So people like Jackie Chan, people in that part of the industry, it's going to look like their stuff because they have done so much in their career.
Yeah.
They are the ones that did the crossover stuff.
If this film didn't have that in there, I would be criticizing them for not using it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of like that's the template that has been formed for
and
over the past
I'm a
40 years.
Huge Jackie Chan old school and the 80s films with Cynthia Rothrock, Richard Norton, and Billy Blanks. I mean, I can just go down the list of those films that I used to watch. Van Damme, of course, not Seagal. But I love that fighting, the comedy fighting, and also the.
You know what it reminds me of a little bit? It reminds me a little bit of like the MCU's version of Rush Hour.
It could be. It could be.
I can see that.
I don't think it's going to be as comedic as that, but I think the vibe they're going for is like being thrown in these outrageous situations where they have to fight, and I think we're going to get like an elevated version of it. Simu Liu, who plays Shang-Chi, love him. He's a great actor. Loved him. I've said this before. Kim's Convenience is really, really good.
I love Eat Man too. That's a great movie.
He is so passionate about this film that leads me to believe it's going to be something special because he seems to be in love with it. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's also going to be interesting to see how it does on its first weekend because this is not a parallel release. We're not getting Disney Plus and
is that because of lawsuits?
I don't know. I don't know.
Lawsuits?
I have no idea.
I think it is.
Possibly. Yeah, probably. Yeah,
I think it might be a combination
situation.
I think it might be a combination of that and them just wanting to see if it can make more money by putting it out that way. I mean, I believe it's because here's the deal. If you've got 20 friends and you all pitch in for a $30 movie, I mean, that's not much per person if that's what you're doing. To
but you want 20 people in your house? I mean,
I don't know. Some families are big. I don't know. BL and Hart. with the $2 super chat. The visuals, the soundtrack, Shang-Chi seems epic. I think it is going to be.
I
think
agree.
it's going to be pretty epic.
I will be let down if it's not. And guys, you know how critical I am. I'm not going to fanboy it and be like, oh, it's the greatest thing ever if it's not. Trust me. But I think it's going to be great.
So this movie reminds me a lot of Black Panther in the sense that it feels very global, and Black Panther was kind of a global movie to me. So with this film, I hope that unlike Black Panther, that it actually doesn't end with a battle that feels
drawn out and kind of just forced almost.
Yeah. Thank you for the
super
sticker,
I love
Gary.
Black Panther, but just like the last part was kind of
Spider-Man trailers leaked. I'm not going to even search for that. There's so many fake trailers out there.
Yeah. I'll just wait. I'm not. It's fine because if the trailer shows me something that I didn't want to see be spoiled about, right. I mean, it's like whatever. I'll wait.
So the last thing I want to address before we move on to our what if review is, in the fighting style that we're seeing on Shang-Chi is that very classic like cinema, martial arts cinema, basically. Mm-hmm. And we see a lot of what looks to be like elevated wire fighting. Some people don't really like that. I happen to think it's really cool when it's done well because it seems more anime to me when they do it right. Mm-hmm. How do you guys feel about that? Are you, because this is a new direction for the MCU, because the MCU is usually very grounded or very CGI heavy. This looks to be more like
kind of so in the middle. Yeah.
So
here's my thoughts, because I have thoughts. In this film, it's gonna look amazing. It's gonna be amazing, and if done properly, I think it'll be better than like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which a lot of those films in that era, to me, sometimes went over the top with it, and it looked very just more cinematic, not so much fighting. It was very just artsy, which is fine. But I feel like where this would maybe be a conflict in Marvel is when they do films together. So like if he does a film with Captain Marvel, is his fighting gonna still be that while she's there, or are they just gonna adopt? Like, I don't want them to nerf him because he's in another film, or
I don't think so, because
versa.
If you think about it, Black Panther had a very specific fighting style, and they retained that in his crossover.
Yeah, but in my opinion, there's no I think the Civil War Black Panther was better than the movie, than the Black Panther film.
Agree.
I mean, I get.
That's just my opinion. I thought he was a better looking fighter, and I thought the suit
was
better.
much better in that movie than it was in the Black Panther movie. So they wanted to add some gravitas to his character by giving him that power release effect, the energy.
I mean, they did a good job with Spider-Man doing, jumping from film to film. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. I don't know. They claim that they're not going to be doing these big collaboration films anymore. So I guess we'll just wait and see.
I don't think that's true. I don't
think it's true either, but I think that's,
I think what they want to do, I think in reality, their goal, instead of doing the big, huge crossovers for a while, is smaller crossovers with like 2 or 3 characters together in one movie. Like, I think that's what they want to do. And I'm okay with that. That's like comic book stuff. Like, I'd love to see.
I don't have to have 400 people in a film, but
like a great example.
Treat a comic book movie like a comic book.
Like a great example is Thor Ragnarok with the Incredible Hulk in it. I thought that was a great team up. So
I mean, even if you think about the Captain America films with Black Widow in it, that was technically a collaboration.
Look at Civil War. Civil War had just about every character in the MCU in it.
Yeah, it was a fantastic film. So
so I mean, they could do that again.
I guess we'll see.
All right, so let us move on. Well, actually, somebody was talking about the if it has end credit scene or whatever. It has been confirmed that Shang-Chi has 2. It has a post and a mid. So
I don't leave those films until it's over anyway.
Yeah. All right.
I've always done that even before there was post credit scenes, because I was never in a hurry to beat the traffic.
Right.
So we just sat there and chatted.
Yeah, a lot of times we just sat around and just talked about stuff.
Yeah. So. Oh yeah, so Black Panther 2 is going to have Ironheart in it. I did hear about that. There's not much else to say about it except she's going to make her first appearance. In that film. I'm really excited about it. Well, because she was going to be on a Disney Plus series, so a lot of people thought that's what she was going to get introduced. But it looks like she's going to be introduced in Black Panther 2 instead.
Yeah, but it's like I was talking to a mutual friend of ours, and he was saying like the Ironheart comics were not great. So,
well, I think that the
I never
thing is
read
it
them.
really just depends on how they use it. But I do believe the shift in having her in Black Panther 2 had to do with what happened with Chadwick Boseman. I do believe they changed the story obviously because of that.
Probably.
So, but I'm excited for it. Pretty good. All right. We're going to talk about this week's What If. So this is the spoiler section. We're not going to do non-spoiler. We're going to talk about this episode. It's What If T'Challa were Star-Lord? And the premise of this is, before we talk about the details, is Ego was looking for Peter Quill.
Mm-hmm.
He hired the Ravagers to do it. They went to Earth just like they did in Guardians of the Galaxy, but instead of actually finding Peter Quill, they found T'Challa because they detected vibranium in the Earth and thought that that's where the kid was.
Mm-hmm.
They picked him up and they left, and they end up with T'Challa with the Ravagers instead of Peter Quill. And we'll talk about the details as we get through it, but that's the premise of the episode. So overall, going into this, we knew last week we had the Captain Carter episode, which felt like almost a scene for scene remake of Captain America 1 with very minor changes. I think the airplane battle scene was the only one that was like completely new. Everything else was almost like a flip on a scene that had already happened. And this one we had a lot less of that, and it took characters in different directions as a whole, not just two characters, but like everyone was kind of different in this than they were, with the exception of I think Rocket and Groot, who were pretty much the same characters they were in Guardians of the Galaxy 1. And I would say Yondu to some extent, except for the fact that he changes slightly because of his relationship with T'Challa versus Peter. So I quite enjoy this. I think this was a step up from last week. This is heading in the direction that I want it to go in, which is something that is much more noticeably different than just swapping a character with another character. Even though that's what happened here, I feel like it affected more characters than just
it's so weird how this is actually a good thing, just because it shows that the one decision didn't just affect that spot, because so much other stuff surrounding was different. And that's what I like to see. And that I thought this was just leaps and bounds better than the first episode. And that's not saying anything bad about the first one. I just think that this one was really good.
Yeah, and even going into this, I was even wondering, like, how would things even really would be different if they had T'Challa instead of Peter Quill as Star-Lord? Like, how would this be any different? But it's so vastly different. It went in a direction I really was not expecting at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say I don't think we even saw Rocket Raccoon or Groot.
No, they weren't.
I thought they were in the background of a scene. Weren't they in the
background? They might have been in the background. I didn't see them. If they
looked, I thought I saw them visually in the background. They looked the same as they did in the
probably. They're probably somewhere in the background.
Yeah.
Which was
they weren't a part of the episode. They were just there visually. They looked the same. But maybe I was seeing things. I thought I saw them in the crowd when they were at the bar with Drax and everything.
Yeah.
So the other thing we have is we find out through the episode that T'Challa as Star-Lord is an inspiring Star-Lord. He's someone that takes that personality of his that we know from the Black Panther movie and from the MCU films and turns that into like flipping the Ravagers around. So now they're just not out doing stuff like mercenaries. They're actually they care about people.
Right.
And they're kind of, I don't want to say they're like heroes, but they're doing things without just thinking about how much they're going to get paid.
Yeah, they're the chaotic good. They're, like you said, they're the Robin Hood. Who's that character from your planet? Robin or something like that?
Robin Leach. He goes Robin.
Yeah, Robin Leach. Yeah.
But the beginning of it is very much like Guardians of the Galaxy 1, where the scene where he's going after the power. I believe it's the Power Stone. And he encounters what's the character's name now? I can't remember his name.
Oh, the Ronin, the guy that was in Captain Marvel and Ronin.
I cannot remember his name.
I can't remember his name either.
That makes me mad. I'm just drawing a blank. Anyway, he ends up joining the team. He's a fan of Star-Lord. This time he actually knows who he is, and that goes to show that T'Challa's Star-Lord is actually known because he does good things, opposed to Peter Quill, who was kind of just this misfit who wanted to be this inspiring. Like T'Challa is everything that Peter Quill wanted to be.
Well, because even though T'Challa was taken when he was young, he was still, a prince and had probably had that that princely education at the time when Peter Quill was just a regular guy.
Yeah. Oh, was it Korath? I think it was Korath.
That makes sense.
Yeah, Korath.
Yeah, I couldn't remember his name either.
Because he worked for Ronan, so that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Where's that? Oh, some people were saying, and I do want your opinion on this, that I guess it's just by circumstance that Peter Quill looked like a crappy character now because of this episode on how Starlord was done by T'Challa. But Peter came from a broken life.
Yeah.
Like his mother died right in front of him, or
he was he like back and forth doing
his father
yeah.
was gone basically.
Mm-hmm. His mom had cancer, so he was probably back and forth through other relatives and everything.
Yeah,
so he did not have a good upbringing.
It's like an unfair comparison in that way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
he did the best with what he had.
Yeah,
and T'Challa was a freaking prince.
I think it's fine to compare them as characters in terms of what they do once they became Starlord, but I think like people that are going back and getting mad at Peter because of the fact that he had a really messed up childhood, I guess. It's a little weird, but I see it all over social media. But it's safe to say that
I know why, but I ain't gonna say that anyway.
But it's safe to say that T'Challa, the energy that he has is not different from when he is Black Panther. Like it's the same vibe.
Yeah, it's pretty. He's still Black Panther. He just doesn't have the suit or anything.
Yeah. Actually, he was very formidable with his weapons and stuff. Like even without the powers of the Black Panther.
Yeah, he was still quite really good.
Because we have to remember, T'Challa isn't dependent on the powers. What was that?
Yeah, you tell him, Sky.
T'Challa's abilities aren't 100% dependent on the superpowers that he gets as Black Panther. He's a good fighter, a great fighter actually, outside of that.
Yeah, because even at the beginning of not the beginning, even during the whole challenge part in Black Panther, where they got rid of his powers and he still beat him. Yeah.
So I mean, him being able to fight and being able to use the weapons is actually pretty reasonable. I think there's no issue with that in my mind. Plus the fact that he had been fighting with the Ravagers and stuff for a while, and it seems like he's like everything about him and his personality blends in well with him being a good leader. So there's no surprise to me that he is. Like that's kind of who he is as a character. Did you guys have any complaints about anything to do with T'Challa as Starlord from the beginning of this? Was there anything that bothered you about it? Any issues with it? Because I think from start to finish, I really enjoyed him in this role, even though it was like a what if story, and we probably won't get more of it.
Yeah, we're not, which upsets me. But it was just that just going in, I was always curious, like because these were two completely unrelated characters. Because with Captain Carter and being Captain Carter and Captain America, they were at least had a relationship. They were they were adjacent to each other.
Right.
T'Challa and Starlord are completely different characters. So I was always like, where are you gonna go with this? And yeah, I think they did a really good job with it.
Yeah. Naruto with the $2 super chat. It feels weird people not being voiced by MCU actors. Yeah, it does because
some aren't. Yeah,
in the same world. They tried to find people that sound close to the actors, like to do it, or people that are good at mimicking people's cadence and voices and everything.
Yeah, they get a voice match.
I look at it this way, right? We just watched Loki. There was tons of variants, even different identities, different genders. They didn't all sound the same. There were some that did. So it does feel weird if they're those characters, but you just have to put yourself in the mindset they're not those characters. They're just not those characters. I know that when we were talking about the game coming out where they were looking like those characters and using their mannerisms, but ultimately for the What If series, you just have to. It is weird. I agree with you. I don't disagree with you, but it doesn't truly bother me that much.
Now, I will say this. I don't know if I was totally prepared to hear Chadwick Boseman back in the role of T'Challa.
Yeah, because honestly, at first I thought I was like, wait, that's not him. No, wait, that is him.
It is him. He was just playing a different version of the character. Yeah. But I'm just like, we're listening to him play this role. And he recorded this knowing that he probably would not be around to ever hear it happen. And he not only voiced T'Challa for this episode, but apparently T'Challa in anything for the What If series was done by Chadwick. He did the
I think it was like potentially up to 3 episodes if those episodes all got filmed. Yeah,
it's quite emotional. I think
really
definitely like I said, I wasn't really prepared for it. I had to take a break after the first few minutes, and I paused it, and I was like, "This is crazy," and then I was able to restart it and finish it up. But it's going to be tough because I don't think they could have picked anyone more perfect for the role of Black Panther. I mean, he really is Black Panther, just like in the same way that
Yes,
Robert
Chris Downey
Hemsworth is Thor,
it's
Robert
Iron
Downey.
Man, yeah.
Like he was the perfect casting, and not just from the standpoint of him looking and sounding like what I would expect Black Panther to look like in live action, but Chadwick Boseman was just a really great dude, perfect dude outside of like acting and stuff. He was very big in activism. He cared about everyone. It's just so sad that like now we have to go on and they have to find a way to make this work without him. So like the bittersweet lining to all of this is that he's going to be in the What If series and we're going to get more of him there. But it's kind of crazy. Just kind of crazy to me. Something absolutely funny here. Yes, Howard the Duck.
Oh yeah,
hilarious.
As soon as he opened up his mouth, I was like, "That's Seth Green."
Yeah. Howard the Duck. Yeah. By the way, does anybody like that old movie? Have you
I love that movie.
I watched it when it came out, and I don't even remember.
I barely remember. Yeah, I was
right.
like, what,
I don't
8 when
even
it came out?
remember the film. I just remember seeing it, and I guess I kind of liked it. I don't know,
I
but
thought it was funny.
yeah, I mean the jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I mean, it's just I didn't know he was Marvel until like the end of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I was like, oh yeah, he is Marvel.
Yeah, so it's always cool to see little funny stuff like that, I guess, but it's whatever.
What do we think about seeing Yondu back because he's not alive anymore in the MCU?
Yeah, I thought that was cool, especially his relationship with T'Challa Starlord is a lot different than Peter Quill's Starlord. Well, I guess it was a little more condensed. If they had a whole movie, it probably would have been
they gotta push it.
I think it was just more condensed.
Yeah.
What about you, Cyber? Were you a fan of Yondu from the films or no?
I loved Yondu in the films, and I feel like, spoiler alert, his death was very emotional, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing him back along with the rest of the cast portrayal, I thought it was pretty cool.
I'm completely detached from this, not totally detached, but almost completely detached from this. And Cyber will know what I'm talking about because he's gonna, as soon as I start talking about this, he's gonna get it. Michael Rooker, who plays Yondu, who's also been in tons of stuff, Walking Dead.
I remember him in Mallrats. That was one of the first films I ever saw him in.
I was so disappointed.
Not Mallrats.
Because I think he's an amazing actor.
It was Mallrats.
Yeah. He was like the security
the father. No, he was the father.
Oh, was he the father?
Yeah, in Mallrats. Yeah.
I've loved him as an actor for ages.
Mm-hmm.
One of those cases where you learn something about an actor that you don't want to
don't want to learn. Yeah.
Is that he doesn't care about the roles he's playing.
Right. He just wants to get paid.
He just wants to get paid.
It's business.
People, like if you go to a convention and you ask him questions about his characters, he doesn't care about talking about anything.
Yeah. We went to a panel of his at Dragon Con, which was solo, which you don't see a lot of solo panels for a specific actor unless they've done some stuff. Like Nathan Fillion had a solo one. Right. Oh God, the guy from
Ian McKellen,
Fringe.
Patrick Stewart. They've
they get them, and so he had his own, and we sat in on it. And like 20 minutes in, we were like, "Oh, we're leaving," because every fan question that was asked about him was very short to the point where it was pretty much, "If they pay me, I'll do it." Like he didn't expand on anything. He didn't talk about anything. He didn't.
Like
talk
I
about
remember
how much
him talking
he
about
loved
Walking Dead, and they asked him a question. He's like, "Well, who gives a shit?" Like he's really doesn't care about.
He doesn't play into he plays into the roles when he does them, but he didn't play. Like if other people have met him and seen a different angle or side of him,
I've seen him three times, and all three times that's the way it's been.
I know with The Walking Dead, he purposely missed a panel at The Walking Dead to stay at the Hall of Fame to get autographs to make money, and they tried to take up for him, but people found that out. So, yeah.
Here's the deal. I'm not shaming him for it.
Yeah, it's like I get it, but
there's people that do it for different reasons.
Yeah.
But when you're a fan of someone and you find out they don't love the stuff they're doing as much as you love them doing it, it's like. So I loved Yondu initially, but then the more I got to know about him, I was like, okay, he's getting a paycheck for this, and he doesn't really like doing what he's doing. I don't know.
Well, they say, I mean, you know,
I
you
mean, he
just
still
hope
did a
that
good job. It's kind of like, that's fine.
he's a good
Whatever.
actor,
Yeah.
and and all the roles that he's played, I've been like, oh, you know,
I-
this is cool role. But
like you said about the Walk of Fame, like if an actor comes, and I'm not going to dogpile on Michael Rooker here, he can do
no,
whatever he
I
wants to do.
understand that.
But I will say there are actors that show up because they know how lucrative the money is. But my thing is, if you don't love what you're doing, then why even come? Like then it looks
Why do you
even
come?
worse. So you had to go there. You had to go that direction.
Always the Omega Hour.
Anyway, it's great seeing Yondu back because I do like Yondu.
Yeah, I do still like the character.
But Michael Rooker as an actor has, you know, it's kind of sad that he doesn't love the role.
Kind of like with Bill Burr when he was like, I don't even like Star Wars, but whatever.
Yeah.
He's a comedian though. Well, I guess Michael Rooker kind of is too, but he definitely is more like, he knows if he's somewhere, you're there to see. He thinks you're just there to see him, not the characters he portrays, and he makes sure that you're aware of that.
He's funny.
Yeah,
he's funny in person.
I mean, I get it, but it's fine.
So, all right. So, some characters I did not expect to see in this were Thanos and the Black Order.
Yeah. So
totally
seeing Thanos
like
not be the Titan is like kind of like, or the Mad Titan.
I think there was one meme going around saying like it just showed Thanos at the end of Endgame, and he was like, "Yeah, here's the boss character." Then it showed Thanos and what else? Like, yeah, when you unlock him as a player character,
right? He's definitely toned
like when you
down.
fight Bison in freaking Street in
they
Alpha
even
3,
talked about him being a farmer in this,
right?
Like farming or whatever. What did you think of this version of Thanos after the one we knew from? Well, we've known two versions already. What did you think of this version? Because we knew the one that we met initially, then the one we met in Endgame, and now we have this one. What did you think?
At first, I was like, okay, why did they bring in Thanos? Oh, like Thanos is a good guy now? Really? This is stupid. But then as it went on, I was like, okay, I understand now. Because he literally was about to do what he was about to do, but then they said T'Challa talked him out of it, and he was like, oh, okay, so that's how he is. I mean, yeah, it was kind of like whatever, but it was, like I said, it's condensed.
It was funny.
A 30-minute show, yeah.
Right. It was just a good little, I don't want to say it wasn't an Easter egg because it was the entire show, but it was a different take, and it was good for fans of Thanos to see a more laid back Thanos. I guess.
It was kind of like Thanos really wasn't necessarily a bad guy. I guess it's just what he was doing just kind of got to him, and he just became he was
blindsided by what he thought his values would change things, and not listen to other people say, hey, no, there's other ways to go about this, and it's good to know that T'Challa got through to him, I guess.
Right, I was gonna say this shows that this, like, literally the whole purpose of Thanos being there was to show how diplomatic and level-headed and relatable T'Challa is.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point. That's the whole reason. Why the Black Order existed without Thanos, I'm not totally
like
sure.
Why were they still together? That was weird because they were
hired by the Collector,
right? But that was kind of a weird thing where I'm like,
why were they like? I imagine the Black Order came from years of going from planet to planet.
Right. That's what I thought too. Like, if they were like if it was just Ebony Maw, or it was just Cull Obsidian, or it was just one of those characters, I might be like, okay, like if they had Corvus and Proxima together because they're in their relationship, I could see that working. But all four of them, I was like, this is totally fan service. I loved it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really loved it. But I'm trying to think, like, why would they all be together? Anyway.
Not a nitpick. Was like whatever. Yeah.
But the other thing is, this to me was if Thanos was in a James Gunn movie. That's kind of what this was, because the humor was definitely Guardians of the Galaxy humor. This was T'Challa dropped into the Guardians of the Galaxy. That's kind of what they were going for with this, and I think they did a great job with it. And having him work alongside Thanos, and Thanos be the muscle, like the really strong. Like, I have to tell you, when I saw him fighting Cull Obsidian, I got excited because I was like,
yeah,
this is the fight I never knew that I wanted.
But it angered me. We already know the Hulk being completely nerfed in Infinity War and in Endgame, but it annoyed me that there was never a fight of the two big guys, right?
Yeah.
That never really happened after the first 5 minutes of the Infinity War. Like, just never happened. So seeing those two go head to head was cool because you never got a fight like that in the movies prior. So I thought it was awesome.
So I thought the Black Order was cool in this film. Ebony Maw facing off against T'Challa was fun because they did a triple cross to the Collector, who, by the way, was jacked. Like, I was like,
I know, dude. I was like, holy crap! Like,
why does he look like this? But then I felt like because he took over where Thanos left off, he just kind of augmented himself with technology. And
like, why is the Collector looking like Broly?
I mean, he was for real, like Super Saiyan Broly. I'm like, holy crap, this is okay.
Yeah, and he's walking around with the robe on, completely showing off.
So much cooler than the MC, like the movie version. I feel.
Yeah, really.
But that was kind of fun. And so then we also have Nebula. Let's talk about her. Very different Nebula.
Freaking hot for some reason.
I knew you were gonna go there with that.
Calm down.
Look,
decaf. They make it.
She was less cybernetic Nebula. She still had some stuff.
Yeah, she had some. She looked more like 7 of 9 type eye thing.
What did you think of this design? Because this was very different from the one from the actual
I didn't like
movie
it.
universe.
I liked it.
I didn't like it.
Look, that's my new waifu. All right, shut up.
I mean, whatever. I mean, there's different strokes for different folks.
You're not gonna insult my waifu. Kidding.
Gonna move on from that one.
She called T'Challa Cha-Cha.
Yeah.
I was like, what? What's going on here? Also, he gets captured by the Collector when they're going there to basically be good guys and with Thanos and Nebula, which is still crazy that's even coming out of my mouth. And he breaks out of the Collector's case by using the vibranium necklace that he has to break out. And I thought, wow, that's really smart. That's pretty cool there. What did you guys think about the Drax cameo? Did you like it? Did you just like it?
That was funny.
To me, that was a definition of an Easter egg because there was no reason for Drax to be there.
Yeah.
No reason for him to be a bartender. There's no reason for him to be there. His family wasn't killed by Thanos. Could have been killed by the Collector, but if it was, then he would have had the same want to get back at the Collector.
He would have been working there then.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, he's just a working man, just wanted to get back to his family.
It's just an Easter egg, so it was fun. Yeah. I don't think Batista voiced him. I think it was the
no, he did. He didn't because he said that I guess that something. So supposedly the way it worked is Disney tried to reach out to people to get them available for the voiceovers, and some people were not. I think he said that he was never contacted by them, but it's quite
he was
possible.
Probably doing Dune.
Well, it wasn't even that. I think it was the role was so tiny. It was only like 5
it was
lines,
only a few lines. So yeah, they probably
not
didn't
only that, but
I
mean, he's been very vocal about not wanting to be Drax anymore. So
really,
in weird ways, he said he didn't want to work out anymore, or something like that. It was
he said that at his age, he can't take the makeup on, and he feels like he's playing the character on autopilot because Drax doesn't really. It's very almost easy to play, as he put it.
Yeah,
and pretty much it's an autopilot role. Like
he's playing Rabban Harkonnen in Dune, who is beat.
I'm just telling you what he said in the interview. You can go YouTube it if you want.
He gets gets more to do than I Am Groot, and you don't hear him complaining about saying that.
But he was saying that sitting in the chair for 4 hours to autopilot the role, he's going to play. In other words, after this, he's not doing Drax anymore. After Guardians 3, he's done.
But
I believe
his role in Dune
is from
not
Guardians.
as makeup intensive.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he said he's getting older, he just can't do it anymore.
I would say most Guardian characters will probably fade out.
I love Drax, but let's be fair. The character, other than comic relief, that didn't win a fight in any film. That he was in.
I kind of wanted him to be a bit more badass, and it just never really happened.
Right.
So
Drax is very, very busted.
Yeah, that, according to a lot of wrestling insiders, they say Dave Bautista's kind of he kind of complains a lot. Like a lot.
I can see that. I mean,
that is what it is.
That's the nature of the industry.
Yeah, to say behind the scenes, they'll just say dude's always complaining about something. So who knows?
So
nothing against him. I still love him as an actor. I actually think he's a really good actor.
He's a good actor. He's in the roles he plays. I don't dislike Dave. I mean, I follow him on Twitter. Yeah. He's whatever. Just he said he's done with being Drax, so they might not have reached.
Well, in the comics, Drax was designed to defeat Thanos. That was
right. Yeah, Drax was busted. I mean, he could fly. Right, had beams that he could shoot out, I think.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Drax the Destroyer was busted.
He was literally the destroyer. That was the whole point.
Oh,
And
yeah, Batista's old.
Yeah, he's very old. Not very old. It's not very old, but in terms of him saying he's in his 50s, he can't do that type of stuff anymore.
Yeah.
He knows his body better than I do, right?
Yeah. Just do what you need to do, bro.
It's such a downer when people come out and say stuff like that, because you're like, I want you to play this role forever. I want you to just live and breathe in this role. Anyway, so the whole thing here we find out, like with T'Challa, is he does miss Earth. He misses his family.
Mm-hmm.
And even though he wants to be an explorer, at the end of the day, he feels a urge to go back to Earth. And then he's told by Yondu that Wakanda was destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what? When he said that, he was like, I was going to go back, and then my country was destroyed or something. I'm like,
I'm like, who took out Wakanda?
Yeah, I was like, well, I figured, I guess he wasn't there, and maybe T'Chaka got taken out, and no one was up to take the mantle. So I figured that must have been the case.
But while T'Challa's at the Collectors, he finds a Wakandan spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought a suit was going to be in it. I was like, that wouldn't have made any sense at all. No.
But I was like, a Wakandan spaceship? This is crazy. So the loss of T'Challa caused Wakanda to build spaceships, which is
to go out to space to find him. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking is, wait, the Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda?
Yeah.
Because that's a comic series now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense. If anybody on Earth was going to build space travel, it was going to be Wakanda.
Yeah, absolutely.
It makes the most sense. Or like Doctor Doom, I guess, or someone like that. But the ship gets captured by the Collector, and he sees that his father, T'Chaka, is looking for him. And he's like, we'll do whatever it takes to get him back. And so then he gets mad at Yondu. So the big twist at the end, after everything's done with the Collector, and they've kind of resolved that, they go back to Earth because he wants to go and see his family and tell them where they've been. And so we see this reuniting of, the king and T'Challa, and Yondu sort of, obviously T'Challa still cares for Yondu because he doesn't want his father to be like,
he still cares.
How did you come about my son in the first place? And so he's like, I don't want you to get in trouble for that and whatnot. And so it seems like we get this happy ending because T'Challa gets reunited with his family, and then he's able to still be part of the Guardians if that's what he wants to do, or his team and whatnot. We even have Thanos on Earth just having drinks, which I thought was crazy.
So weird.
It wasn't genocide. It was random.
Yeah. But that was kind of cool. But then we get the teaser at the end that because of what happened, Ego
finds Peter Quill.
Come to Earth, and he's going to destroy the Earth. That's
I know, but it's like that's it for that episode, right? So
I kind of want to see how they deal with that. It's like I want more.
I wanted more of the what ifs, but that's what the what ifs do.
I was gonna say the what ifs are notorious for like showing you all of this may have been cool, but look what happens because of this.
I want to see exactly how that end game instead of being Thanos, wiping out half the universe, is like no, Ego ends up trying to take over half the universe, and they're gonna have to get.
It's always gonna be somebody.
It's going to be Starlord T'Challa with the rest of them. It's going to be Captain Carter instead of Captain America. It might be, Iron Man and the rest of them still up in the air. We don't know what's going on with them. So I was like, I want to see how they deal with this threat.
The thing is that it just goes to show that even though they eliminated Thanos as a threat, there was another one.
Yeah,
which is what I always said when Doctor Strange did his thing, and he said there was one. It's like, they may have beat Thanos there, but not.
Yeah, someone else is going to take along.
Something else happens, and they still lose.
BS.
Right.
Yeah. By the way, people were asking about Gamora. We talked about this. I think Omega was gone at this point, but Cyber and I talked about this. There's a possibility that Gamora's planet was never attacked by Thanos, which means that she would have never left.
There would have been no reason for her to be. Because there was Nebula never mentioned her sister or anything like that.
Yeah, she probably just had a regular life in her planet.
Yeah.
Just never
Unfortunately, Gamora is just on her homeworld.
Yeah.
Just a regular person.
For all we know, the Collector could have went there and did something, and so she's still Gamora after, but not part of the Guardians. Shop. Oh, no. Yeah. Honestly, there's no telling, but that's
the reason why Gamora is Gamora that we know in the MCU is because of what Thanos did. So if Thanos never did that to her planet,
there's no reason for her to be there.
There would be no reason for her to do it. So there we have it. So Lone Wolf says, I kind of feel like these what if will all connect in each episode. I didn't see any connection between Captain Carter and this one, so I don't know if that's gonna.
If they do, that's fine. If they don't, I actually prefer them to stay themselves, because then it gives them free reign to
true.
write their own stories for each one and let them.
I would, like I said before, I would love to see them actually all connect and see how they deal with the new what if threat, instead of being that they got rid of these threats, someone else came along and wonder how they dealt with that. I would like to see that, but if they all reign separate, that's cool too.
Yeah, I mean,
whatever way they
the
want
what
to
if
do it,
series, I'm fine with whatever.
Good with it. There is an episode with Gamora, but it was not this episode. That's somewhere else in the what ifs, which
that'll
I believe
probably be the zombies.
It shows the one I saw, I think, was where the Guardians are in New York fighting the Chitauri, which is like the Battle of New York, and I think she was there fighting off the Battle of New York with the other Guardians of the Galaxy.
I haven't looked at any of the what ifs.
Do you think they'll do an Infinity Watch episode?
I don't know.
Which is like Gamora, Moondragon, Phyla-Vell. What's on Infinity Watch? Adam Warlock. What if Adam Warlock is in one of these what ifs? That would be kind of cool, actually. So.
It's a good way to introduce those characters where people might want to see them and then see them show up in the MCU. It's a good way to test the waters. They can dip their toe in any part of the stories they want and see where it goes. If somebody doesn't like one of the episodes, it'll be like, whatever, it's a one-off.
Yeah.
The next one.
Party Thor was in that shot as well. That's going to be funny. It's going to be really, really, really interesting. So this is the 5-minute warning, everybody. We're going to wrap this up in 5 minutes, but I want to get everybody's final thoughts on this. So this episode of What If, I thought was a big step up from the first episode. I really, really enjoyed it. I like the first episode. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think this is more in the direction of what I want from the What Ifs, is more dynamic changes. So I would give this episode like an 8 out of 10, I think, for me.
Omega?
9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. Best episode. No, honestly, I would give this a straight up 9. This is great. I wanted more. It went past my expectations of what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be Guardians of the Galaxy, all over again, but with a different character. But they went in totally different directions, and I definitely want to see how they dealt with ego. So it's like, I want more. And I'm not going to get more
because of Chadwick. It's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I can see that. 9 for me.
I'm not knocking off any points.
I can't see anybody going lower than an 8 for this.
Yeah.
I think an 8 is the lowest you could possibly.
Yeah, 8 is about the lowest I would really go.
I would even say an 8.5. I'm just trying to withhold my scores a little bit because I feel like we've got some really, really, really good episodes coming up, and I don't want to give something like.
Yeah, it's like this is only the second one, but
I can see giving it a 10 out of 10 for Chadwick.
Yeah.
I'm totally for
that's
that.
it.
Yeah.
If we just take away that bias, it's an 8 out of 10 for me. It was a really good episode. It was fun.
Now, we've seen some previews for upcoming episodes. We know we're going to get something with Doctor Strange. We're going to get both a Doctor Strange and a Peter Parker as Doctor Strange, or Spider-Man as Doctor Strange episode. So we got at least a couple more cosmic episodes coming up. So before we get done, are you guys more excited about the more space-based cosmic stuff, more of the mystical stuff, or are you looking for more things with like the grounded, theme?
Nope. Go all out. I love my grounded stuff. Everybody knows that's how I feel in the movies. I like my grounded stuff. But when you're doing animation, there's no reason to do grounded fighting. You can, but give me the crazy stuff, the stuff that wouldn't necessarily look good on film. Yeah.
Yeah, especially with animation. Just
give me Dragon Ball fights. You know what I mean? I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah, Jenna here says it's clear the first 9 episodes of What If are focusing on the first. Yeah, I mean, I figured they would. I figured they would all take place within the first 2 phases. Maybe
and that's okay. That's fine. So. I like the way
they don't want to spoil anything for the next upcoming.
That's what I said. They could dip their toes in it. You don't know because it's one off.
There are so many Easter eggs in the room. Like, it would take forever to go through everything. But there was tons of them. Go back and watch the episode. Pause it from all those scenes. There's so many Easter eggs. So yeah, just really excited.
Oh yeah, Hella's helmet. I was like, oh my god, that was dope.
So here's my thing about that with Hella's helmet, because I guess that was never established before. Could she not use her abilities if she didn't have the helmet? Did the helmet give her abilities?
She always pulled the helmet up when she went to use her abilities, as far as I know, if I remember correctly.
So I'm guessing, but so what was her powers before? Nothing.
I don't know. So did he call it? Okay, so I have a question. Did they call that a necro sword?
Yeah.
So the necro sword is connected to another character.
Oh boy, here we go.
That's what she said.
So real quick, chat, while he looks that up, I actually did, while y'all were chatting, look up the Spider-Man trailer just to see if it was real. So it's on a potato that it's filmed, because that's how it is. It has a watermark bigger than the screen you're trying to watch.
Wait,
and there's
the Spider-Man one?
Yeah. And there's the graphics aren't finished. So even if it is real, you can't see what's happening except for the live action parts. And I assume that's real. I had it turned down.
It's probably like early. If anything, it's probably like some early.
Right. And if we know anything with Marvel, it's really hard to see. If it's real, if you really want to see it, go look for it. But if you can wait for the don't. It's not worth it, in my opinion.
Right. Okay, so I did check it up. Everybody in the chat is saying the name. I didn't want to say it until I confirmed like what the weapon was. So the necro swords are actually connected to Hela. I didn't know that was the actual name of them until we saw this episode of What If. And Gore, who is going to be the villain of the next Thor movie, his storyline initiated with him finding the necro sword. So I'm wondering if they're going to change that in the film, because that's where he gets his source of powers from the necro sword. So in the comics, Gore comes from a planet where they worship the gods, and they do it in a way where everything on their world revolves around the day and night cycle, getting food, getting water. Everything is done with gods in mind until he finds out that gods aren't who they say they are. And things that happen on his world send him into a spiral. He gets upset with the gods. He gets the necro sword, and he perceives to kill gods because the sword is so powerful. So I'm wondering if it's going to be one of the necro swords from Hela, because if that's the case, it's going to do the same thing that Hela does.
That was the only thing. Yeah, that was exactly. That's the.
By the way, Hela's power, like visually, I loved Hela. Just being able
she could have destroyed Thanos. Like it wouldn't have even been close. She would have destroyed Thanos. But I just didn't know. I thought that was just her ability. I didn't know it came from the helmet, which
I feel like the helmet was probably enchanted just like Thor's hammer is. I'm guessing that's what it was. Like
that's what I kind of figured too.
That's possible. So either way, that's cool. Shows the collector got it, and so there was a lot of Easter eggs there. That's cool.
So I wonder if Gore is going to get her helmet, and that's how he gets the necro swords, and that's how he becomes Gore the God Butcher, by using the powers of the necro swords.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that one.
I'm so excited about that, because you know who's playing that role, right?
Christian Bale, right?
Oh yeah, I was saying in chat,
yeah.
But I wonder because Gore doesn't look very human. He's got a humanoid figure, but his face is not human at all. So I wonder how they're going to do that, if they're going to make him CGI in the movie or not. So I don't know about them forgetting the sword. The sword is kind of important to the character.
Yeah, I was wondering how did he get it? Because at the end of Ragnarok, Hela's fighting Suitor.
Right, but what I'm saying is that doesn't mean that the helmet was destroyed.
Right, he could just find it.
I mean, like, how did Gore get this sword? If in
the MCU, I don't know. In the comics, he witnessed a fight between two gods fighting, right?
Yeah,
and then one of them died, and he got the sword that way. I think that's how it was.
That's what I'm saying. And in the comics, I don't think the necro sword was synonymous with Hela, if I remember correctly. So the fact that they're doing that in here is, it's kind of crazy. Nice, cool little Easter egg. But I enjoyed it. Looking forward to the next episode of What If. Hopefully you guys are as well. We'll be talking about it next week. And if we do get an official Spider-Man trailer, we will talk about that.
Yeah, there's no reason to even it's like it was filmed on a Game Boy. It's not worth it.
Okay. All right. So that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And we will catch everyone
Free Guy
next time. Oh, you want to talk about that quickly?
We'll talk about it real quick.
Okay.
Chat, if you haven't seen Free Guy, go see it. It's Ryan Reynolds. It's hilarious. There's no spoilers here, because anything that is said, it's not going to do it justice. It is actually a fantastic film to go see. However, for gamers, that's not how games work. So, like when you go to see Ready Player One, stuff like that,
that's not
you have to suspend your disbelief in terms of that it doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't. So if you can just be okay with that, or if you don't understand how games work, this film is absolutely hilarious. It's a good time from start to finish. There was never a dull moment. I give it an 8 out of 10. It's a must see. Go see it in the film. Ryan Reynolds is hilarious. Yeah, it's a good film.
I praise from you.
It's absolutely a good film.
Is this like early reaction praise, or is this like you've thought about it and that's the score you're going to get?
No, that's coming out of the film. I felt that way.
Did you see like a week ago?
Yeah, I saw it last week, and it's definitely, yeah. And it's that. So Radical, there's not a lot there that will trigger you. It's just if you know how games work and you like immediately, you would just be like, oh, okay, it doesn't work that way. And then you'll hate the film. So don't do that to yourself. Just enjoy it for what it is, because Ryan Reynolds is a comedy genius. And the film in itself all plays out that way. And it's got a ton of Easter eggs. And he's just funny. He's funny. It's good.
There we go. All right, guys. We will catch you next weekend. See you then.